Italian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, Lori Bruno, you may have heard of her. She's a pretty famous Salem witch, but she's the one who ordained him.
Oh,
So it's pretty awesome in Salem.
I'm just me.
We're recording, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yes, Jim the Witch. Yes.
Oh my God.
So, hi, I'm Larry, and welcome to the Havamal study with Ríðar of Wyrd. Tonight we are going over Stanza 9, and
Nelson Young, the elder or vice president of the Kindred.
I'm Hank Stratton. I am the master of coin of Ríðar of Wyrd. Thank you.
you're joking.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Sam, and I'm just Sam.
Okay. Fair enough.
Welcome, Sam.
Thank you so much. So stanza number 9, who would like to start?
Sure.
Okay, I was going to say I'll be the guinea pig.
Happy is
I'll be
he
the
who gets praise and has wit throughout his life. A man often gets evil counsel from another heart.
Okay. Let's see. Bray's translation. Happy is he who hath in himself praise and wisdom in life. For oft does a man ill counsel get when 'tis born of another's breast. By Bray.
Wow, this is going to be interesting. We're reading 9, correct?
Yes.
Cool. That man is fortunate who, in himself, keeps his reputation and wits while he lives. For men have recorded or received bad advice from another's heart.
No, that's fitting. It's just another.
Yeah, it's just another way of saying it.
Then Thorpe.
Mhm.
Okay. He is happy who in himself possesses fame and wit while living, for bad counsel hath oft been received from another's breast.
Okay. And Bellows. Happy the man who has, while he lives, wisdom and praise as well. For evil counsel a man oft has from another's heart. And that was the Bellows translation. For those of you who are curious, I'm using the Havamal study book from the Hunan and Moonan Publishing Company, as is Sam. And what are you using today?
I'm using the Elder Edda translated by James Chisholm.
So is it James or Chris?
I think it's James.
Trust me, it's James.
Yes, Chisholm. What are you using?
I'm using the wits, but it's not lasting very long.
Which books?
I am using the Poetic Edda from the new translation by Carolyn Larrington, Oxford World's Classics,
So,
which explains the differences. Thank God I didn't have my Elder Edda.
right. Because we have 5 different translations of the same stanza. That way we can see it from different viewpoints.
Mhm.
So what does this mean?
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, it's you come into a situation, you're learning, let's take it from this standpoint, you're learning it for the first time.
Sure.
You have your understanding, and you're going forward with that, and yet you have someone who is, let's say, jealous or is not liking the way you're doing this or how the process of whatever you're doing will give you bad advice and to make you look bad. So better to be confident in yourself and build your reputation. Like what I have been doing with my readings, like what I've been doing with my paranormal group. There's a lot of people out there that are like, you can't do it that way because of, and it's like, dude, are you really doing this or are you regurgitating somebody else?
Okay. So what does it mean to you guys?
I think it's more in depth. I mean, there's a reason why they don't use the word knowledge. They use the word wisdom because knowledge is just acquired information. I mean, anybody could have knowledge, but it's saying that you're happy when you actually take the knowledge that you've gained, take from whatever topics, whatever areas of life, and you're applying it, which is giving you the wisdom to carry on. But that also makes you a valuable asset to the people around you. If you have knowledge, you're just a book. If you have wisdom, then it makes you applicable to people around you, and they're going to praise you. They're going to be happy, whether it's at work or at home or whatever. But there is a lot of evil out there, and if you take all the knowledge and say, hey, this is what I've been told, then all you're doing is spewing that knowledge, and that could be evil, it could be good. There's so many different ways that it could actually transpire. Whereas if you actually use the wisdom in that knowledge, you can determine and decipher what guidance is going to be good and what guidance is going to be poor.
Okay, and that makes sense to me because wisdom is just knowledge that's been used. Whether it's been used well or used badly, you still learn from it one way or another.
Right.
So I get that. That makes sense. What do you think?
Well, I agree with both viewpoints. More or less, this is, to me, be hesitant of those who might use honeyed words to manipulate you.
Okay.
Be wary of anyone who's quick to praise you. Always look at, sometimes it's good to have a close friend who can use as a sounding board, especially someone who's not invested one way or another. Depending upon the situation, it might be better to get a viewpoint of someone who's outside of whatever it is you're discussing. For instance, if I was having issues in a relationship, I wouldn't go to someone who wants to date my wife to ask them for what I should do, because they're going to be quick to tell me terrible, terrible things to try to get with her.
Right.
So, be careful.
So for me, the words that are jumping out in all of these is who in himself or who hath or while he lives. It's internal. It's listening to your gut, your wisdom, the things you've learned, instead of somebody, like precisely what Sam said is, you have the knowledge, you have the wisdom. If you believe in your own knowledge and your own wisdom and you follow your gut, and there's no reason to have to ask somebody else all the time if you already know the answer. Follow that which you know is true. Don't always look outside. It's not saying not to look outside, but it's saying, you can get bad counsel.
We have a question.
Well, I think wisdom is just a awareness of yourself and then of others too, which is kind of what these
Can be.
you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's very well said.
I think the biggest thing though too is that it's talking about for evil counsel, a man full of past from another's heart, because it's talking about too, like, this is coming from other people's hearts, other people's minds, and so you do have to be wary, because we want to live lives of wisdom and praise as well, because like, what's the point of living a life if you can't actually do anything good with it? Like, yeah, anybody can just go to work every day, go to school every day, do their thing, but who's actually making a difference? Military, firefighters, all these people, and those people are actually applying and doing something great. They're being praised for the things they're doing. But if you're an evil, we see it in the military all the time, a really bad person, like you're just this evil person, but you happen to be in the military because they don't fire people,
Right.
So it's like, yeah, you're doing good things, you're being praised because you're a service member. However, you're a bad person, so using that wisdom to counter is what's going to make you stand out from the rest, stand out from the herd, essentially.
Okay, so let's get controversial for a minute. How about police officers? How many of them are in the news for doing something bad when 90% of them are out there just doing their jobs or actually protecting people? You don't see a lot in the news about the cop who stopped a bank robbery or somebody from being killed. But you will see that one cop who pulled somebody over and was like so frustrated that day, and they were like, just get in your fucking car and leave me alone.
Well, and I think that's when good people have to apply the knowledge and their knowledge and turn it into that wisdom. In this situation, what do I do?
Right.
A good person would say, yes, I'm frustrated. Yes, this could be the outcome if I don't control myself.
Right.
Therefore, this is the action I'm going to take. Whereas somebody who might have some kind of evil corruption about them would say, I'm frustrated, so I'm going to react in this way, even though, because they just react, as opposed to actually taking the knowledge that they have, the training that they've experienced, and applying it, which is the wisdom side.
So what about the hearts of others, the evil in the hearts of others, or the miscounsel of others? If you think about it from that context, what about the news crews that are going out and only showing the side of the story where the gunman got shot, but they didn't mention what the gunman did beforehand or how he threatened anybody beforehand?
Well, that would be the difference between fact and truth,
Yes.
because there are many sides of truth. What is true to you may not be true to someone else, but a fact is still a fact.
Right.
Which is the same thing with knowledge and wisdom.
Right.
Knowledge is, this is what this says, on this date, this happened, da 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 da. Wisdom is saying, there are 3 different sides to this story.
Yes.
There is more, and actually digging to find the actual fact. We can find knowledge anywhere. You can open a book and find knowledge.
Mhm.
The fact is, you can't open a book and find wisdom.
Right.
You have to apply the wisdom.
Right.
Just like with truth,
Yes.
there's fact, and then you have to find the truth within it. Just like Christianity versus paganism, just
Right.
like Buddhism versus Hinduism. You have to find the facts.
Yeah.
Here's the facts. What's the truth within the facts?
Right.
And it's the same thing with knowledge and wisdom. And I think that's why wise men get praise, because they find that truth.
Right.
Which is why we talk about this instead of going, this is one stanza in front of the camera. That's what I think by, like, I know everything. Because nobody knows anything.
No.
So,
And that's why I'm enjoying doing this. We're expressing ideas how we interpret it,
Right.
based on our experiences,
Sure.
and then hoping to hear from everybody else how they see it.
so how can this be interpreted spiritually? Or can it?
Sure. Absolutely. it
Well,
can.
absolutely. I mean, given, okay, it's no secret. I mean, I came from the background of,
The irony.
okay, yeah, I came from a background of Kabbalah, ceremonial magic. I evolved into various flavors of Wicca, and finally finding Teutonic Wicca.
Sure.
Wicca true. And all these other people have been telling me, follow my way because
Mhm.
I'm right, you're wrong. And it's like, but you don't feel right. You don't feel like you would fit my life pattern, my life ideals. With my paranormal experience,
Mhm.
I sit down and evaluated the ideas of what the big thing about orbs are. Now I realize that's a different area dealing with the paranormal. No, orbs are not ghosts, but they are a real thing. No, it's dust and you can't tell me otherwise. That's fine. But how much research did you do on it? How much did you find for yourself? Just like our spirituality.
Mhm.
What did you come through? What fires did you, what Devil's Lake did you swim on for the knowledge you have?
Right. Right. Normally, knowledge can be given freely and easily, especially nowadays with smartphones if they're actually applied for good use. You can find knowledge instantaneously on just about any subject out there. But to gain wisdom from said knowledge is an entirely different matter, as you just said.
For good use, you mean the internet's not just for, like, cat videos and porn?
No.
Really?
Right?
Okay.
To some of you out there, I'm sure it is, but to the rest of us, probably not. So there's all I'm saying is that wisdom normally has to be achieved by earning it. You can't gain wisdom by sitting at home and eating potato chips and staring at MTV Real Housewives of Miami. It doesn't work. All you're gaining is knowledge about their lives and not doing anything with yours.
It takes 20 years to get 20 years of experience.
But then you have to look at it at the other example. Like, you've known for however long that you're like, well, I've experienced this version of Wicca and this version, and you've gone through basically the same spiritual journey, just in a different form or a different way, but it's the same basic belief patterns. So if you take it from somebody like myself, who I was raised from 3 years old till
30.
oh, not quite 30, but like 29. You know,
30 something.
I'm only 31, so not quite 30, but you know, my majority of my entire life where I was like, this is the only spiritual way, this is the only spiritual path, and they literally manipulate and controlled every single thing I did, to the fact that I didn't even realize things about myself until I was 27 years old, because it didn't even fall into my perception of what life could even be.
You didn't know it was an option.
I didn't know it was an option, exactly, to be anything except for Christian, to experience anything other than Christianity. And so that was the spiritual path that, you know, myself and one of my best friends, like him and I have gone through the same path when it came to it. He wanted to be a pastor, you know, and now he comes here and hangs out with us, you know, like big change, right?
Sure.
Because we go through these paths, and when you stay in Christianity your entire life, that is your spiritual guide. That is what you do. When you stay in Buddhism your entire life, just like when you stayed in that. But the question is, when you start looking for, here's the knowledge of Christianity, here's the knowledge of paganism, here's the knowledge of this, and then you find wisdom, it goes back to the fact of this. These are the facts.
Right.
What is your truth within these facts? And so for a spiritual aspect, you're sitting here going, if this is the fact of what Christianity gives,
Right.
They reject you if you're gay, they reject you if you're this, they reject you if you do this, if you do this, you're going to end up in hell if you do this, this, and this. And they're literally giving you, these are the only people that are good people. And then you find a spiritual journey that's saying, you know, you meet somebody special and she's like, hey, why don't you do this? And you're like, oh, well, let me look into this. And you're finding a spiritual journey completely away from your old spiritual journey. Then you're finding, here's your knowledge, and you're finding the wisdom within them. And you're finding
And
the
that's
wisdom on your
basically
spiritual
what I'm
quest.
saying. I, like you, I came from a background of Baptist, Lutheran, Seventh-day Adventist,
Oh, jeez.
okay? And at the same time, I'm like, okay, I feel this. That has a psychic connection too.
Sure.
I sense and see ghosts. Oh my God, you're not a Christian! Oh, get on your knees! Oh, get a bloody life! Would you please?
Oh man, switching the accent.
I'm
up.
serious. And it's,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not following a certain way, here we go with the evil hearts.
Sure.
If you're not following a certain way, you're down to hell. And it's like, okay, what hell? Which one? Whose?
Right.
It's like,
2 L's or 1 L?
yeah, exactly. It's like, my mother always reminded me, because you were a boy, and you were my firstborn, I promised you to God. And it's like, years later, she'd come back to me with that one more time, and it's like, Mom, you made a mistake. You never said which God.
Right. Right.
So, okay, that's valid.
Right.
So, and now I just lost my train of thought. I just had 3 seconds. Yeah, that's awesome. But still, you found the wisdom. But that makes sense, actually, with the stanza. Because you found
Yes.
it within yourself.
Right.
Right.
You
That's-
found the wisdom, the praise,
Yes.
the spiritual paths, and so did you. You're still walking the road. Everybody does, and no road is straight. Everybody wants to tell you this road goes straight north and south, but in actuality, it's a fucking squiggle line that does figure eights and all this other crap. But
Potholes.
and
Yeah,
potholes,
those damn
and
potholes,
crevices and all.
right? There's potholes.
Oh, when
There's
you turn.
bridges. There's detours along
Oh,
the
especially
way.
with potholes.
And those are all, that's all the
Turnabouts,
wisdom
you know.
that you find.
Right.
And some of it is
Right.
people that may have good intentions or ill intentions, or may think they have good intentions by telling you go do this way because I said so and that's the only way. And then it doesn't work for you. You've got to figure that wisdom out yourself. So spiritually, this is very much walking the path of finding out what works for you.
Yep.
Praising yourself for finding it and following it, even though you may or may not have that other
Well,
I think also spiritually, the knowledge applied turning into wisdom is that, for lack of better terms, that instinct that
Intuition.
as some paths believe, that still small voice, that little tingle with the hairs on the back of your neck or goosebumps, you know, all of these things are you finding a truth within it. Not that
Right.
one path has all the truth and the rest of them are
Right.
complete and utter shit, but
No, it's just some of it may not work for you individually,
It may work
or
for
it may
them,
not
but
work
it's
for
not.
you at that point.
Right.
what I'm
Yeah,
getting
there's
at,
that too.
what I'm getting at is the wisdom is when you listen to that.
Yeah.
When you
That little
acknowledge it.
voice in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes I don't know.
I used to tell people all the time that would ask me, well, you know, should I be heathen then, or should I be also true? And my answer was always, in order to find out what you believe, sometimes it's better to ask, what don't you believe? What is an absolute detriment to you? What is impossible to you? And that's going to be different for each person.
No, that's true.
So someone might be able to reflect inward and go, I don't agree with, you know, the 9 noble virtues, for instance. I know there's a lot of, what do you call it? There's some people who agree with it and some people who don't. Whether you believe or disagree, it doesn't really matter. What does matter is do you believe in them or do you not? Do you apply them to your religious life or do you not? Or the Wiccan Reed if you're Wiccan or whatever. Do you apply this to your life? Does it have meaning? Does it have bearing? Does it work as a moral compass? If not, disregard it and find something else.
Well, and I think that that's what it boils down to for a lot of people that are searching for something more, like more than Christianity, more than this. I know that my friend that, you know, he was the one that first kind of started talking about this years ago, and then Jess obviously pointed me back to this direction, but it was that sense where it was like, this belief, this way of life, this is for anyone.
Yes.
Whereas like Christianity is for these specific people, Buddhism is for these specific people, and they could categorize themselves based on their moral compasses that they had, but they were their own personal moral compasses based on a book. It wasn't based on a heart or based on their individual feelings. It was based on a book that somebody said, I translated this from all these millions and thousands of stories, so here, this is what God says, let me give it to you, and that is how you have to live, and if you don't live by that, then you're screwed.
Divine.
But then, yeah, they're divine
Unless
truth.
you like the other version of that book.
Unless you like the opposite version, you know, but it's
And then
all
they're
based on this is what you have to believe, and they give you a hand guide to what you have to believe, and with things in the Havamal, you read 5 different translations, and they're all translated very similarly. Some are, you know, more old school sounding because it's from, you know, when they talked a lot funnier. And then you have, you know, and then you have like nowadays, closer to nowadays, and it's, but they all mean the same, but it's not a black and white, this is what it is, this is what it is, and it's like, what do you find truth in this? And this stanza, and, you know, number 9, what truth are you finding?
Right.
Now pursue that truth. You take that and you actually apply that to your own life, and you see the outcomes, the fruit of what you're going to do.
Right. Absolutely. No, I completely agree with that. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to beat this dead horse with a stick. I think this is actually really good progress.
We leave resurrection to other people.
That's the
Oh, like
Christian
it
side.
didn't fucking happen. Odin hung himself and experienced the small death, and Baldur came back.
I'm a
from
class
the dead,
15
straight up.
cleric.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of things.
Necropants.
This is not Dungeons and Dragons.
Magic underwear.
You are not a bard today. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and have a good night. Don't forget to click the like button, the share button, all the other buttons that do the things and the stuff. And actually say something.
Yes, comment below. We want to hear what you think.
Because I don't want to type to myself anymore. It's getting rather boring.
Nick Lake, that's you.
Ah!
Burn.
Got called out.
Anyway,
I like it.
even if you don't agree with us, be respectful about it. We will come back. We will comment back and, you know, It's all cool.
Find the truth that lights your way.